Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to share some strategies for Toefl listening part B, long conversations. These are the longer dialogues you'll hear in the test, and don't worry, with the right techniques, this part can actually be one of the easiest to score well on. Alright, let's start with the overview. In Toefl listening part B, you're going to hear two long conversations. Each conversation is followed by 3 to 5 questions. And the topics are usually about campus life, things like registering for classes, library issues, group projects, meeting with professors, and so on. Remember, you only hear the conversation one time, so you really have to stay focused. Okay? First and most important strategy is preview the answer choices before the audio starts. While the narrator is reading the directions, quickly scan all the options for both conversations because this helps you predict the topic. For example, if you see words like paper, deadline, professor, so you already know it's probably about an assignment. Next, strategy number 2, focus on the first 10 to 15 seconds. In the first 10 to 15 seconds of the conversation, pay close attention to these three things. First, who is speaking? It can be student, teacher, or staff. Second, what is the main topic? And the third, what is the purpose or problem they are discussing? Because most main idea questions are answered in the very beginning. Now let's talk about strategy number 3, one of the most important skills for long conversations, effective note taking. During the conversation, you should divide your paper into 2 columns. Speaker A, usually the man, and speaker B, usually the woman. Don't write full sentence because that's too slow. Just write keywords only. Focus on important information such as problems, solutions, plans, dates or times, and places. Strategy number 4 is understanding the common question types. In Toefl long conversations, the questions usually fall into these categories. First, main idea questions is asking about the overall topic of the conversation. The second, specific detail questions. This asks for who, what, when, or where. Third, inference questions. You have to understand what is implied but not directly stated. Fourth, purpose questions. Why the speaker said a particular sentence. And finally, questions about the speaker will probably do next. Mastering these question types will help you stay focused and answer faster during the test. Before we practice answering questions, I'll give you some tips while listening. Listen in chronological order, pay attention to signal words, and if you miss something, move on, don't panic.
Listen to a conversation between two students. The conversation is about the school dormitories.
Are you living in one of the school dormitories, or are you living off campus?
Me? I'm living in one of the school dorms. I think it's easier to live in the dorm than to live off campus in an apartment or house while I'm in school.
Me too. I live in one of the dorms too. I live in Baker Hall.
In Baker Hall? Isn't that one of the newer dorms?
Yes, it is. I prefer living in one of the newer dorms. Everything is more up to date.
I don't live in one of the newer dorms. I'm staying in one of the older dorms.
You like the older dorms? You think they're better than the newer dorms?
What I like about the older dorms is that they're much closer to the center of campus. The newer dorms are on campus, but they're farther away from the center of campus. I like being so close to the center of campus. That's why I'm in one of the older dorms.
Well, it would be nice to be a little closer to the center of campus, but I prefer the newer dorms, even though they're farther away from the center of campus than the older dorms.
Number 35. Where is the man living? Number 36. Where is the woman living? Number 37. Why does the man prefer his dorm? Number 38. Why does the woman prefer her dorm?
Okay, the number of 35 is A, in a new dorm, because it clearly says I live in Baker Hall. Isn't that one of the newer dorms? Yes, it is. Next, number 39, and the answer is B, in an old dorm. She says I don't live in one of the newer dorms, I'm staying in one of the older dorms. Number 37, the answer is D, because it is modern. He explains, I prefer living in one of the newer dorms, everything is more up to date. Last, number 38, the answer is C, because it is near the middle of campus. She says, what I like about the older dorms is that they are much closer to the center of campus. See? Most of the answers can be found by using preview, focus on the beginning, and good keywords. So you don't need to understand every single word, just focus on the key information using the strategies we discussed.